Alright, what's up, guys? We're gonna just be talking about porn and our struggles with it and everything like that.
For me, I just kind of, when I was younger, I don't know, I've always just kind of like found myself wanting some kind of sexual fulfillment. I feel like it's something humans are born with. Some people have it stronger than others, but found myself wanting stuff like that, and eventually figured out it was on the internet and started just, stuff like looking at like bikini pictures or something like that, and eventually just kind of going further and further until eventually I was just watching horrible videos all the time, and I was actually doing a little reading about it, and that's what porn is really like. It's a drug because it changes your brain, and it releases dopamine in your brain, which is basically the chemical that gets released into your brain anytime that you like something. Pretty much makes you feel good, and your brain will build up a tolerance to it eventually, and then so you'll need to find something more extreme so you can keep getting that same rush. And same way it works with drugs, you start with something weak and it gets stronger, and that's exactly my experience, and definitely screwed me up. Just kind of generally made me feel empty, and I found that my struggle with just general downness and depression was always worse during that time. Just gets you really focused on yourself and what you want, and you kind of schedule your life around it. I found myself not really thinking a whole lot about other people. It's more just getting through the day and what I had to get done so I could get to my porn, and it was pretty sucky. Sucked.
Yeah, same with me. Yeah, I didn't have any confidence when I was doing that, and also I didn't really talk to people a lot. Like, I kind of got nervous around people, and it wasn't social. But now when I quit, I started just getting more social, and human interaction is like really powerful. Like, it makes me feel a lot better after I talk to people. So that really, yeah, when you quit that, then you're gonna be more social. And well, that was my experience with it. Was that you too, or no?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a huge thing when it comes to. I mean, it's kind of the no-brainer you always hear is, first step is admitting you have a problem. I found that just talking with people about it, being real about it, that was the thing that really triggered growth and healing. I think just in general, as humans, we're kind of made to be social animals, and I think we all crave realness and truth, and so it's just in any area of life, it's really important just to be real and genuine, talk about things that are, just that are honest, that are going on in your life. It'll really help in any area. That's basically how it happened for me. Is eventually I decided to open up to people, and started talking about it, and even just the embarrassment even was almost a good thing, because it was like, knowing somebody else knew I had that problem made me not want to do it, because I knew that they were going to be asking me about it, or just the fact that they knew it made me kind of feel motivated to quit it, because I didn't want them to be thinking about John the porn addict. So I mean, definitely talking to people is important. Yeah.
Yeah. Was it easy for you to bring it up though? It was like hard, right?
It was super hard.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I did, I was like, first couple times I brought it up to people, I was choking, like could barely get words out, because it was just it's really hard, because for one thing, like I said, it's really embarrassing, and then also there's also a part of me that didn't want to do it because I didn't really want to give it up, because I was an addict. So it's like, I knew if I started the process and talking to people and really tried to get better, I knew that it would mean that I would have to let go of it, and I didn't really want to. So that was another reason it was hard. Man, I still to this day, I mean, it's been a long time since I've, actively searched porn and look through those videos religiously. But even to this day, it's even today, I just temptation's there, and just it's hard to fight. I remember my dad telling me when I was little, he was telling me not to look at stuff like that, because he said it'll get burned in your brain. And it's true. There's a lot of images that still haven't left my brain. I wish they would, but they don't, and they're horrible, and I still find myself wanting to go back to it sometimes. And it's just, I wish the advice of don't look at porn would actually help, but I feel like most guys are already past that, and they already have.
Yeah.
But I mean, the least amount of damage you can do to your brain is better, because it will damage your brain. It just changes the way you think, and it'll just like anything you put first in your life is going to be the thing that controls your life. So I mean, you pick your drug, and you pick your God. Whatever's first in your life is going to be the thing that you're living for.
Yeah. I definitely saw a positive change in you well, I didn't know you were doing that, but you grew a lot in the past year. I feel like just you're so much stronger now in your faith.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, whatever's coming first is going to be the thing that's coming out of you, and I've chosen to try to make that less about porn and sex and that kind of thing, and more just about God, about His truth, and just even if you're not a Christian and you're not religious, just in general, there's better things to live for than porn. Because the truth is that it's going to hurt you. Anything you're addicted to, anything that you're addicted to, that's in my belief, if it's not God that you're relying on, it's gonna eventually come back empty. It might even be a while before it comes up empty, 'cause sometimes stuff like that, it does feel good for a long time, and you don't really feel the need to change sometimes. But yeah, I mean, like I said, choose your drug, choose your God. The things that you rely upon are going to be the things that control you, things that direct your path.
Yeah. Do you feel a lot more fulfilled after you quit?
Definitely, because it's a crappy thing to be living for. It doesn't ever really leave you feeling fulfilled. Life is hard enough. You're never fully fulfilled in this life on this earth anyway. And when you're living for something like that, that's just really empty. You can't find fulfillment in it. So since I've been looking to higher things and just getting out of that world and getting more focused on bettering myself and focused on helping other people, just getting out of my own head and out of my own world, it's been so much better. There's still tons of crap in life. Life is still hard, and a lot of times I do feel generally unfulfilled just because it's the fact that life is hard. But I mean, ultimately, yeah, I feel much more fulfilled, and I wouldn't, as much as sometimes my mind tells me I want to go back to that stuff, I don't, because what I have now is a lot more worthwhile than what I had then. So
yeah, same thing with me. I wasn't fulfilled. I mean, it wasn't fulfilling, no. It's just, it brings emptiness, right?
Yeah. And the weird thing is that when you're doing that stuff, it's like, a lot of times I would find myself literally on the bathroom floor crying afterwards, because it's just it sucked. I felt horrible, and I wanted out, but it was like still, you know, go back to it. And I didn't really, you know, towards the end of it, it was like I didn't understand why I was still doing it, because like I got to a point where it was like I don't even like this anymore. Yeah, you know, it was like it put me in a bad mood to watch porn, you know, before and after, and just my whole day is just constantly being in a bad mood from it. I just didn't like it, but it was, you know, still had such a hold that I was going back every day, and you know, multiple times in a day sometimes, and just another thing to think about too, as I've kind of gotten outside of just myself, stuff like that has more of an effect, you know, than just on your life. When you look at women or men, you know, like that as just sex objects, then it's it takes away from your humanity. It takes away from their humanity, because we're made to be really beautiful creatures, and you know, body and soul. And when you're just looking at people as sex objects, and even if you think of yourself as a sex object, it's, you know, you take away more than half of what you are. I mean, the body is just you know, it's where our soul is stranded for now, and they're not bodies. I mean, they're amazing for what they are, but they're not that great compared to who we are as people, our personalities, you know. And when you forget about that aspect of person, and are just thinking about bodily desires and the body, you know, it really destroys the view that we should have of ourselves and of other people, and takes away from how beautiful we're really supposed to be.
For sure. So you're not as depressed anymore? Like, you still get depressed, right?
Oh, sure. I feel like everybody does.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think a lot of it's just a matter of getting outside my head, you know, and caring about something other than what I want. Because if all you care about is what you want, you know, I'm sure you know, like, life sucks. You're always going to be let down for the most part.
Yeah.
There's not many times where you really do feel like, you know, you get those heaven on earth moments that are like, wow, this is just amazing. I couldn't have it better right now. But they're so few and far between. So, I mean, if you're living for those heaven on earth moments right now, it's like you're just gonna get let down all the time. And, you know, of course you're gonna be depressed if you're always getting let down. So, I mean,
sure.
When my goal is not to just make myself feel good, when my goal is to get other things done, and I'm able to, you know, do more with my life, I just feel better, because I'm getting more done, and I'm, you know, more productive. I'm just feel more valuable in general, because, you know, I'm doing more than, you know, sitting around looking at a screen for an hour, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, definitely not as down lately.
Yeah.
What do you think is like the biggest downside of porn, and the biggest upside of not being addicted to it?
The biggest downside, well, I think like the couple downsides are depression, which I hated that came with it. I don't know, depression came with it, so nobody wants to be depressed. That's number one, I feel like. What else? Also, yeah, the images getting stuck in your head. That's horrible for like a long time, and kind of feeling like you're worthless. I really felt like I was worthless, because I was doing what everybody, well, not everybody, it's like 90% of what guys do, and I just felt like I'm nothing, because I'm just doing what other guys are doing, and I'm like not doing anything outside the box or anything like helping out other people. So I think feeling depressed and being feeling like you're worthless are like the main ones that I think. What about you?
Yeah, I think for me, I think the biggest downside that I see to it is just the fact that we're not living up to our potential. So yeah, basically we're taken away from our worth. You know, everything that we could be, that's good, is not happening when we're busy doing that. Yeah, I definitely think depression is something that comes with the territory. Those are definitely two of the biggies. And you know, it's not even just in those times, you know, when you're watching porn that you feel really crappy. It's like, or just it's not just in those times that it's affecting you. It's when you're walking around. You know, when you build up that habit of you know, looking at people with lust, you're gonna be doing that everywhere you go, walking around, and it's always on your mind. You're gonna be walking around undressing people with your eyes, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, just it's horrible. That'd be the biggest downside, the two biggest downsides I think for me. I think the best thing of not doing it is probably, I mean, just the fact that those two things aren't as present. You know, they're still there. Like I said, every day you gotta fight it, but you know, it's like it's just better when you don't have those weights on you when you're trying to run through life. So, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Same thing for me. Less depression. I feel a lot less depressed, and also more. I don't feel as worthless. I feel like I'm actually doing something. And what else? Yeah, you're just not a slave to that. Like you're not trapped in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't think like just because you like do a little bit like just with like a bikini on, it'll just escalate. You can't get this same, like he was saying, like you can't you build up a tolerance to it, so it'll just escalate the videos more and more.
That's something, just the way our brain works too. Like I was talking about, that dopamine chemical in our brain is like, it's a chemical, like where if we have too much of it, it's just it'll damage our brain, and our brain knows that. So what it'll do is like, we have these receptors that take in the dopamine, so our brain will get rid of they'll lower our amount of receptors to be able to try to, you know, not let our brain get hurt. So yeah, we get that tolerance, and then we still want the same rush, so we got to go further and further. You know, eventually, you know, any kind of addiction will kill you slowly, sometimes fast. And with porn, it may not be a physical. It's not, you know, necessarily as physical as something like heroin or something would be, you know, where it's going to damage your body a lot quicker. But either way, it's going to damage your mind, damage your soul, and ultimately, you know, cut down on your brain power and your decision-making power. And you might, you know, I feel like it's just as dangerous as any other drug, and definitely, you know, as powerful. I mean, I'm sure there's little percentages. I'm not a scientist. There's probably somewhere that are, you know, there's probably a ranking of what drugs are the most powerful or whatever. But you know, for the most part, I'd say porn is right up there with the big boys in the drug world. You know.
Yep. So to wrap it up, yeah, it doesn't bring happiness. Don't go down the road, because you'll just keep going down the road. It's better just not to do it at all, right? Like, not if you can.
Yeah, if you're someone watching this video and you haven't, don't. Not worth it. I know that there's gonna be that part in your brain. It's so curious and like just itching to try it. And you've got the freedom where you can do it or not. But from people who have seen the damage that it's caused in our lives, and there's much more damage that we haven't even talked about in this video. There's just, you know, not enough time. But you know, coming from people who have been through it, if you haven't, don't. It's not worth it. you know, you're better off living with the curiosity and the not knowing than living with the damage that comes from it. So
Yeah, the images and all that. Yeah, and if you are doing it, you know, you probably feel the same way, depressed or whatever, worthless. Just know there's a way out. You can just try to get out of there. It's
talk to people.
Yeah, talk to people.
Be real.
Be real. What else?
I think
That's the main one.
I think those are the main things. Like I was saying, you know, for me the biggest thing is God. There's got to be something that comes first in your life, whether it's God or drugs or a woman or a man or, you know, whatever. Something's going to come first in your life. So figure out your priorities, because whatever you put first is going to be the thing that controls you.
Yep. Oh, also one more thing. Don't you feel a lot better doing, like, helping people out rather than that? Like, that's a way better feeling than, I think, drugs or any porn or anything like that.
Yeah, man. Definitely.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's more fulfilling. It just brings more happiness. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you.
Sweet. Thanks, dude.
Yeah, man.
22 minutes.